chair of this session, Shri Kumar Prashant, Ambassador Designate Excellency Manjini, Ambassador Amar Sinha, Shri Shakti Sinha, Shri Sachin Chaturvedi, distinguished audience and dear friends. Einstein had a driver who used to escort him to all his lectures on the relativity theory. He had attended several of those sessions sitting in the last row. One day, Einstein was to speak at a session, but he fell unwell. So he asked his driver, "Can you replace me for the program? You sit on the dais as Einstein. I will take your seat in the last row." The driver had been there for 20 sessions, and Einstein's theory was the same in all lectures. So the driver said, "All right, not a difficult job. I can manage." Today I am standing in front of you like that. So many eminencies on the dais, off the dais. I have heard you speak on many of these issues, and suddenly I am standing in front of you to speak. Because when Sachinji invited me, I didn't realize that it's going to be a big program like this. I thought it is like one of those round tables that RIS organizes. But one advantage that Einstein's driver didn't have and I have is that for his misfortune, Einstein's driver didn't realize that in that session there was a question answer session. And obviously when questions are asked, it will be on scientific topics. But he was a clever fellow, otherwise he would not have been Einstein's driver. When a difficult question was asked by the audience, he told the audience that for such an ordinary question, you didn't need Einstein to answer, his driver can answer, who is sitting on the last row. So if there is any difficulty, probably I would have asked one of the people on the dais to answer, but luckily in this program, I think there is no question answer session. Friends, talking of Einstein, he made a very interesting comment about Gandhi. That, generations to come will scarce believe that such a man in flesh and blood had ever walked up on this earth. A person like Gandhiji probably had lived on this earth. Generations to come probably would find it difficult to believe. So today we are talking about a personality which happens very rarely in history. Talking of India and South Africa, as Madam Ambassador has earlier mentioned, we have a strong bilateral relationship today, strong trade relationship, more than $100 billion bilateral trade we have between us, and we have ambitions to grow it to $500 billion plus in the coming years. We have a strong Indian community in South Africa. In fact, people say that Durban is the biggest Indian city outside India, with 1.5 million, close to 1.5 million Indians living. So we have a strong bilateral bond between our two countries through trade, through people-to-people relationships. But this bond is much deeper, much more profound than what we see on the surface as bilateral relations. This bond is defined by two personalities belonging to two generations. I do not know if Mandela had any chance to ever see Gandhiji. Somebody said, no, he met him as a young boy, he saw him something, but I don't know if history has, probably Mr. Kumar Prashant can say that, tell us about that. Belong to two generations, shared same vision, practiced same kind of politics, and presented to the mankind same kind of ideals. The ideals that today resonate all over the world. World over, a depressed man, an oppressed man, today if he rises in the name of Gandhi or Mandela or both. This is the kind of legacy that the two great leaders belonging to two geographies, two generations have commonly left behind. Both came from good backgrounds. We know that Gandhiji was the son of a diwan, fairly good background, good education. He was bar at law, fairly good income in those days. So was Mandela. In fact, the word Madiba, as I understand, only denotes his highness in his clan, coming from a very respectable high background, with a degree in law, coming from a fairly great, big, sophisticated background, but not only represented the last men in their society, they lived the life of the last men in their society. I would say, had Gandhi and Mandela been not there in history, I know history doesn't have ifs and buts, yet for a moment, assuming there was no Gandhi and there was no Mandela, who would have stopped crass materialist ideologies on one hand and violent Marxist ideologies on the other hand? The two stood like walls between their respective societies and the invasion of these ideologies on those societies. In fact, as I understand, Mandela, in his childhood, was influenced by Marxism. In India also, we have many Gandhians who were influenced by Marxism in their initial days. In fact, it is jokingly said, if you are not a Marxist before 30 years of your age, means if your heart doesn't bleed for the sufferings of the downtrodden people, there is something wrong with your heart. But it is jocularly said, I am not meaning offense to anybody, but it is jocularly said that if you continue to be a Marxist after 30, there is something wrong with your brain. Having realized at this stage, in his interactions with great communist nations of those days, Mandela had realized that no, for my country, for my people, it's not the violent way to pursue. It's not the way of hatred. It's not the way of struggle, violent struggle that I should pursue. Rather, I should tread in the footsteps of Gandhi. Where Mandela drew inspiration from Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. used to say that Gandhiji was a great inspiration to him. And today, I'm sure several of you have read or listened to President Obama during his Nelson Mandela address in 2012 or 13, in which he invokes both Gandhi and Mandela as his inspiration for a black leader to become the first ever president of the great democracy called America. It took so many hundred years. But the inspiration came from these leaders. So Gandhi and Mandela gave inspiration to generations, not in their respective countries, but world over. What is that inspiration? It is the politics laced with spirituality. Politics laced with humanist values. Politics where hate, violence, intimidation have no place. But more importantly, and most importantly, the politics that is completely dedicated to the last man. In fact, in India, as young children in schools, I don't know if it is still there, we used to be taught Gandhiji's talisman, a small pledge. What Gandhi stood for, what Gandhiji wanted us to imbibe as citizens, can be appreciated from that talisman message. I mean, Shaktiji can tell me, it used to be a compulsory pledge for the civil servants. Does it continue to be a pledge? I don't know. But let me just read out for the benefit of youngsters or many people sitting here. Gandhiji's talisman. We used to have on the last page inside cover of our textbooks. I will give you a talisman. Whenever you are in doubt, or when the self becomes too much with you, apply the following test. Recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man whom you may have seen, and ask yourself if the step you contemplate is going to be of any use to him. Whatever you do in your life, do you stop for a moment and think that is it going to be useful to the man on the street? Will he gain anything by it? Will it restore him to a control over his own life and destiny? It's not that you are doing a charity. Are you making him stand on his own feet? In other words, will it lead to Swaraj? For the hungry and spiritually starving millions. Then you will find your doubts and yourself melting away. This is the politics for which Gandhiji stood for. Very interestingly, I came across a quote by Nelson Mandela. Like Gandhi, Mandela also believed that alleviation of poverty. He never believed that poverty alleviation is like a charity. Neither for governments, nor for NGOs. It's not a charity. It's a justice that we have to render to our own people who are deprived, who are depressed, who are oppressed. A justice needs to be rendered. Mandela says, there is nothing I fear more than waking up without a program that will help me bring a little happiness to those with no resources. Those who are poor, illiterate, and ridden with terminal disease. This is what differentiates them from the rest of us in politics or in public life. Here, the whole concern is for the poor and the oppressed and the depressed, wherever they may be. Gandhi learnt of his lessons in Satyagraha not on Indian soil. He started learning it when he was in South Africa.